Your kid is having a tantrum, bouncing off the walls, pounding on the floor in the middle of the finest restaurant in town. Oh, he wants his dessert first. And all of the patrons in the restaurant want him to have it. All eyes are on you and this irascible child when the maitre d' comes over, grabs your child, and says, I'm taking him into the back and keeping him until after dinner. I'm Rowena Starling, welcoming you to the Save Your Breath show, where we help parents eliminate the stress and aggravation of parenting, whether their child is 5 or 50. Our show today is about nutrition and the effect that good food and different chemicals and various other man-made chemicals have on our bodies and our behavior and our attitudes. Just wanting to put that in front of us because I feel it's overlooked a lot. In fact, one of the key things that happens is the absorption of certain pesticides. I'm on a pesticide rant these days, and here's a quote from the information from the Environmental Protection Agency, garnered from various spots on their website. Each year, around 1 billion pounds of pesticides are used across farms, forests, and lawns in the United States. That's 1 billion pounds. Around 17,000 pesticide products are in use right now. Research reveals that only 0.1% of pesticides applied reach the target. The other 99% impacts the environment. I want you to sit with that for a second. Pesticide residues are widely found in animal feeds also. 80% of the corn has pesticide in it, and 22% of wheat produced in the United States each year find their way into animal feeds, which then what? Feed us. You know, we either like to eat meat or we use the milk products from these animals. So I'm telling you, why are we talking about pesticides? Talking about nutrition today. It has to do with the fact that I feel that we don't think enough about our brains. Our brains are very important. They run this whole machine, every aspect of what's going on with every organ in our body. I think that we have a tendency to, I don't know, they're important, but since we all have one, we take them for granted. So what we eat impacts the failure and the success of our day-to-day activities. And I want us to focus in on that very carefully today. Our offspring look at us as the parents, as the example of what is supposed to be happening with our bodies, with ourselves, with many other aspects of our lives. But just in terms of what's going on with the diet, they're paying attention, and we're often feeding them, right? We raise them. But most of their attention, most of their information, 93% of it, that nonverbal communication, part of that nonverbal communication is what they're sensing around what's going on with the food. They pay a lot more attention to what we do than what we say. Because what do we say? The words that we say are only 7% of in-person communication. So I want to have a point of us looking at that and exploring especially if you're not being conscientious about how you're eating now, to gradually change the way that we're presenting the food scenario to ourselves and to our children, and to begin to explore ways to shift how we're operating in that arena. What we're having, the exploring can be fun. And what we're having to do is not only look at what we're eating, but also what we're applying to our skin. Our skin is the heaviest organ of our body. And there's a beautiful thing about this. It says that, don't put anything on your skin that you wouldn't eat. Put healthy things only on your skin. So if you're rubbing yourself down with olive oil, you're taking care of it. You are golden. So, idea being that if you are ingesting all of these various things, then what effect is it having on your perception from your brain? What effect is it having on your perception of what's going on with your child? What effect is it having on their perception of their environment and what's supposed to be happening? Are you in integrity with what you're saying to them? Are you aware? This awareness, the brain is a big receiver. There's a 360-degree awareness going on that has nothing to do with eyes alone. So this is an interest that I want us to pick up, pay more attention to the brain itself. Because, and I have some more information here for you, children with ADD, for example, have low levels of zinc and iron and high levels of dyes. They call them tartrazine and sunset yellow, azo food dyes, benzoate preservatives. God. Listen, I have some direct experience with this because I tend to be a bit ADHD, and my son had it going on, and I took him to the doctor, and that was one of the, fortunately, we got a good one, and he didn't take us immediately to the Ritalin, never got around to that one, because he had us alter the diet. Altering the diet made all the difference. The removal of these chemicals from my diet and from my son's diet is children are sensitive. They're small, their bodies are small, and their brains are small and fresh and new, and so chemicals hitting their brains, it's really obvious that something is off with them, right? As we get older, we start to adapt, and the brain is more sophisticated. But you understand what I'm saying about that. The negative effects of these chemicals are detectable by the parents, but not so much by the doctor. If you were to take your child in to see the doctor, your standard clinical tests don't pick up or are not able to tell you what the deal is because it's too subtle. It's way too subtle. And significant changes happen once these things are removed. You can tell the difference in how you feel when you have a good breakfast. And when you're sending your kid to school with a low glycemic breakfast, it's hearty, they're able to concentrate better. All of this has to do with what's going on with what we ingest. Here's the thing. The brain needs intense amounts of energy to perform its duties. It is 2% of our body weight, but uses 55% of the glucose that we consume. 55%. I mean, that's intense. And this particular aspect of the energy that's used is not something that's replenished by the body. It has to be fed in like fuel all the time. It doesn't store it. It has to be fed continuously. And one of the things that helps the brain to function at its optimal efficiency and strength is omega-3 fatty acids. They support the structure of the brain and helps to burn glucose and fuel and combats autism and ADHD, depression, dementia. Alleviates some of these violent tendencies and suicides. In fact, I have some information here just to name a few of the things. It's just a mountain of information, a mountain of benefit just from that one super nutrient, omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish, oily fish that you consume from the ocean. My favorite is salmon. It fights depression and anxiety, improves eye health. I'm not going to go through everything here. We don't have that kind of time. But I just wanted you to get a feel for what I'm talking about here. When you're talking about giving the brain what it needs so that you can be at your optimal and your child can be at their optimal. Omegas promote brain health during pregnancy. The brain is really, trying to get it together when it's fresh and new and trying to put itself together in the womb. It lessens the factors for heart disease. Reduces symptoms of ADHD in children. I said that. Fights inflammation. If you're inflamed, you may not be fully aware of it. I mean, you know you're tired, you know you're upset, you know there's things going on, maybe too many things. There's an inflammation that's happening. What happens then? You become tense and you become short and impatient. And unfortunately, what's happening with children and with people in general is that what's remembered is that short and intense a lot longer and a lot farther down the line than the sweet, wonderful kind always. So you want to manage to have as few of those impatient moments as you can because they linger. The mind loves to cling to the negative and just squeeze it all the time. We want to have a lot less that it can cling to and behave in that way. Omega-3s fight autoimmune disease, mental disorders, age-related decline in Alzheimer's disease. Some of us are a part of the sandwich generation where we're taking care of kids and our parents. Anything that you can do that helps to offset the negative effects of anything that would be ailing us, since we know the brain is the center of operations, we're interested in doing. Helps prevent cancer, reduces asthma in children. And it goes on and on. I'm not going to go through them. May improve sleep. Come on, I know there are some parents out there that need to sleep. If the kid is sleeping because they're getting their omega-3s and you're getting your omega-3s, yeah, this is a benefit and enhancement that we can live with. It's just too many things there. So just wanted you to have that information because it's paramount. Anne Wigmore was she was a doctor of divinity and American holistic practitioner. And there is a quote that she says that sums this up so beautifully and so clearly and so succinctly. And what she says was, the food you eat can either be the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. We get to choose. Wow, huh? What do you think about that one? We have evolved. Of course we have evolved. We no longer have the rickets and the scurvy of yesteryear. And we're still evolving, living longer. But ultimately, we still are not doing the maximum that we can in terms of vitamins and nutrients and minerals for our physical self. We are way down on what we're supposed to be meeting for our daily. We have a large unmet daily vitamin and supplement requirement. We need to pick that up and shore that up. Our immune systems are turning on us because since we're not back in the farming days, we're not exposed to the germs that we used to because we made a point of using chemicals to kill those guys. Now the chemicals are killing us. Whoa, wow, that's a long conversation there, but you see what I'm saying? The immune system, so we have a lot more cases of, for instance, asthma is running rampant. You know, asthma was virtually unheard of in the farming days. And even today, I think there are studies that have come out that show that children who live on farms have far finer, stronger immune systems. Why? Because they're wrestling with the dog and the cat and the pig and the the farm animals. They're out in the dirt and being exposed to the spores and all this stuff. I think stronger is better. What do you think? I'm just wondering. What are you allergic to? To what is your child allergic, or your offspring if the child is not home? Do you know? Whatever that may be the reason that they're having, or you're having, a problem concentrating, a problem getting done what you need to get done. Same goes for the child. And I'm speaking of, rescuing the parent here, because we want to put the mask on ourselves first. It's pretty easy to, recognize a problem if you have hives all over your body and the child has hives on their body. I mean, that's an easy one. Okay, we know to start looking for something. Something needs to be cured. It's quite another thing when you're having to look at, behavior issues. That is when you need to look inside and see possibly there's something there, that a nutritional deficit of some sort that could shore up that problem. And what happens when you shore up these problems? Things get easier. That's what we're about. I have a nutritional style. I've picked it up over the years. And I wonder, do you have a nutritional style? I've learned to cut out a whole lot of unnecessary eating. That was a big one. I'm still at it. But my style is to have my green vegetable and my yellow vegetable and protein the size of the palm of my hand. We're to have the protein the size of the palm of our hand 2 or 3 times a day. And then I throw in fiber for good measure. That's all part of the healthy thing. What's your style? It's important to get a style. If you're kind of just grabbing whatever you can because you're working and it's just easy and the coffee is overrunning your life, I need for us to reconsider that, because that's what we're passing on. That's what we're teaching. Organic versus processed food. Organic food versus processed food. This is the big issue right now. And it's a kind of an issue because organic costs more. The processed food is, it's tastier and it's cheaper, but it makes us sick and it kills us faster. And really, which one is really most expensive then? That's the question. Food is special. We have a profound love of food. There's a love connection. Food is more than just nourishment for us. We all know that. There's a love connection on many different levels, and we all share it. There is the love connection with the food itself, like me and Haagen-Dazs. There is the love that we share, the connection we share when we're having food with someone else. Our self-worth can be tied up in what kind of food that we're eating. Class, societal class issues come up with the kinds of food that you eat. There is a love connection with Mother Earth, because there is that the Mother Earth feeds us, literally feeds us. Our physical aspect is grounded in the food and our connection to Mother Earth. So food needs to be revered as part of the foundation of our physical life. Have you ever had someone say, wow, that was great. How did you make that? And have them answer, I made it with love. Love, that ether that's infused in food. There's no negative connotation to the sugar and mom's apple pie. I think as a culture, we kind of removed that. Why? Because there's love. The ether of love is infused in those baked goods that mom makes for us. So we're going to make an exception for that one. Family meals around the table. We gather one to the other around food. The ether of love is being shared right there. Even if there's discord, you're there together around the table, love looking at itself. So how shall we handle this integration of the proper nutrients in our diet issue? Well, I have four suggestions that I'd like to share with you. Number one is, whatever you do, please include your omega-3 supplements and your oily fish in your diet, wherever you can get it. I hear krill oil is the most powerful thing you can do. I'm not sure about that, but I'm looking into that next myself. The idea is to get the best food and the freshest food you can possibly find. Preferably food that has grown directly from the ground or walked on it or swam in its oceans and rivers. That should make it simple, right? If you're looking to put something in your mouth and you can see that it didn't grow directly from the ground, didn't walk on the ground, didn't swim, then question it. Do you really need to put that in your mouth? I know the organic part is an issue, the affordability. Many parents feel that buying organic is just too expensive. But it's really deeper than that. If they would just realize that the cheap food is more expensive in the long run, then they would make a point of having the finest food they can possibly get their hands on. And vegetables are cheaper than a lot of processed food if you pay attention to it. Our vitamin and mineral supplements need to be pounded in because we're doing minimals and we need to be doing maximals. This is what I've learned. I've gleaned this over time. This is what I understand. What we need to understand is that our bodies are temples. Yes, you go to church, you go to temple for services, but our bodies, we are divine entities inhabiting our bodies so that we can enjoy and play here on the earth. We're all brothers and sisters. Ultimately, I hope that we get that understanding in the entirety of this world. We'd have more fun that way, fewer tears. But that's the truth of the matter. And whether you believe that or not is not important. It's like gravity. You don't have to believe in gravity to be at the effect of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, pesticides. Oh, my favorite subject. They are the main reason that organic is so big. Our soils are cultivated and saturated and turned over and over again with these pesticides in them. And we grow our crops in this soil over and over again, spraying the crops again. You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going with this? Crop after crop in this soil. So yes, organic if you can. Have natural fertilizers versus inorganic fertilizers that you consume for your temple here, yours. I think, in fact, if you were wanting to know what the actual minimums and maximums are, well, we know what the minimums are, but what the maximums are, there are a number of places online where you can check to see what I think consumerlab.com/RDA small s. to get comparisons of what is the minimum or the maximum amount of a supplement you should be taking. And I think they even break it down to the age. It may even do sexes. I'm not sure. I just discovered them. So have a look at those. Do the maximums, please. Number 2, gradually rid your family and yourself of your bad eating habits. Gradually. Cold turkey is no fun. And it, causes a lot of unhappiness and rebellion. So just ease it in there. Steady, consistent replacement of the bad with the good. That's what we want. That's the way to go. Number 3, you may need to have allergen tests done. If you see that there's something off and a clinical visit is not enough, then you may need to go on and have some allergen tests done for yourself and or your child. Holistic practitioners and nutritionists and some doctors have referrals that they can give you to help you discover what it is that you're actually allergic to. It's important. I had someone tell me not long ago that she had to move because of the air of where she lived. It was just too congested. She was literally allergic to the air. She had to move. Clean water, clean air. This is important. It doesn't get any more important than that, right? I mean, think about it. Are you blaming yourself or your child for some behavior that could be handled with a dietary shift? I mean, come on. Let's make it easier on ourselves. Find out what that is. And then number 4, look at your emotional attachment to foods, especially if you're emotionally attached to a food that's not good for you, right? And gosh, that's a big one for a lot of people. And there are various means for getting rid of unwanted emotions that are causing you to binge on one thing or another that that's not good for you. Because what? Your kid sees you doing that and it registers as something to do and they get to do it themselves later. Whereas if they've not witnessed all of that, it doesn't occur to them necessarily. Let's save ourselves. If you have, do you have unwanted emotions that you'd like to get rid of? Would you like to get rid of them? If you have them and any other fears or anxieties or phobias that you would like to get rid of in minutes rather than months and years, let's have a conversation. You can contact me at saveyourbreath101.com/parenting-assessment. If you find that you have anxieties and fears that stand in the way of making the money that you need to buy these organic vegetables, if they're standing in the way of you dealing with your parenting situation in the loving, thoroughly loving way that you're capable of, if you're anxious about disciplinary measures that need to happen and you just are too tired, maybe you're too tired because something is lacking. Maybe it's not just the work. It may be that you're just not shored up nutritionally to handle it. Or if you're worried about the future unnecessarily, contact me. Receive a complimentary parenting breakthrough session through the parenting assessment at the link provided. Well, I thank you for watching and listening, and I look forward to seeing you again here on the Save Your Breath Show. I bid you eternal peace and joy.